Hey, welcome to this AI animation tutorial, showing a new workflow that uses AI tools to bring life to characters and scenes. Cheers for watching? Oh, and if you're on YouTube, please press subscribe.
Hey, my name's John Draper, and I'm an animator, studio owner, and founder of AIanimation.com, a new site we've developed to try and showcase creatives using AI animation to create high-quality professional animation. It's early days there, but please head over there, and if you're interested, sign up for free. In this tutorial, I'm going to share a workflow to bring AI-generated images from sites like MidJourney, Stable Diffusion, Leonardo.ai, DALL-E, whatever your chosen platform is, and show how you can take that image and through various AI tools and some traditional digital animation techniques, bring them to life, adding some subtle 3D depth, an animated head rig, and then adding a few extra touches to really bring the environment to life.
The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-okay, because we can go to the beach.
There are some selected compromises we've taken with our workflow to be able to achieve really efficient production with a nice quality of output, but there are some limitations. For example, we can't animate hands and arms or have the character walking around easily. But as these AI tools mature over time, and there's things like Wonder Studio from Wonder Dynamics, where you can use filmed footage of yourself or an actor and have it turned into a CGI character, as well as export that mocap data or the 3D character. So you could potentially combine that with some of our approach here to place your 3D characters into a scene from MidJourney or whatever AI tool you're using. So with that in mind, as we continue to evolve and test out different processes, tools and workflows, please, if interested, press subscribe as we share more and more videos on our new YouTube channel. Oh, and if it wasn't clear, we're going to be making a video like that one. Here we go. So to start with, we're going to make a character and the scene using MidJourney. And if you're not familiar with it, if you head over to the MidJourney website, follow a link and it will send you over to Discord as it's run on a Discord server. So you actually have a conversation with the bot. So press / and write imagine, press enter, and then you write out your text prompt. I've got one here already made. So one realistic smiling but tired looking 3D cartoon CGI geeky child with oversized glasses staring directly into the camera, standing center of room next to desk in 70s galactic spaceship interior, messy artist bedroom, neon lighting. There's various prompts that you can use when chatting with MidJourney to get certain outcomes. So here you put --AR space 16:9 and that will help create a 16:9 image rather than a square. So let's press enter and see what it churns out. Okay, so we've got some results here. Just make that full screen. So they're nice. They're pretty cool. I think we're going to try out the one here, which is quite realistic, less Pixar, and slightly more photoreal. So we're going to jump out of there, and we're going to press U1, which will upscale number 1. And then we're going to press zoom out, which is going to zoom the camera out and show us more of the scene. Okay, so it's generated 4 images for us there, and we can choose which of the 4 we prefer. Quite like this one with almost a sort of a sound mixer desk. I think we're going to go with that one. So it's upscale number 2. There we go, and press web, and then press save to download the image to your computer. Now I've opened up the closer-up image of our character and our scene from MidJourney in Photoshop, and this is the new version of Photoshop, currently in beta. And we're going to use the Firefly-powered AI tool that allows us to do generative fill and adapt the image through AI. It's really quite incredible. So we're going to use the marquee tool, draw around our character. Then we get this little text prompt here, and we're going to type in remove boy from scene and press generate. And there we go. That's actually incredibly well done, better than average. So we're just going to save that image as a clean background plate that we can use. Save that. Then we're actually going to take that image and copy it, open up the wider image, and we're going to paste it in here. And then I'm going to scale it down and just by eyeballing it, replace the current scene. We might do a little bit of fading out. Choose the eraser tool, choose a soft brush, just so it blends. And then we're going to save this as the wider view. And then we can close Photoshop. Now we're going to create a 3D depth map using our wider image of the scene without the character as we painted them out in Photoshop. So we're using a free tool that runs on huggingface.co called Midas. Huggingface.co is an amazing place where you can harness the power of various different GPUs and computers to run different AI models and other bits of software. But Midas works for free. I'll include a link below the video description. So on here, you can just click and choose your image. So we've got the wider image there without the character. Press open, press submit. It takes less than 3 seconds to create this depth pass that we can then use to drive our 3D animation later on. Let's just press download. We're now going to hop over to a bit of software from 11labs.io, which allows you to create very lifelike AI-generated voiceovers. So we're going to use this to bring our short script to life that we can then use to drive the animation for our character. So once logged in, you can hop over to the voice library and try out different voice samples.
Never do things others can do and will do. Blessed are the hearts that, as we are liberated from our own fear, we have committed the golden rule to memory. Let us now commit it to life.
Fantastic. So you can try out any of these and then you can add them to your voice lab. You can add more and more depending on how much you pay for your subscription with 11 Labs. So I've got 3 here because I'm on the most basic tier. And then go to speech synthesis, choose your selected voiceover artist, and try different settings as you go. So we need a short little script. So let's try out. The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-OK because we can go to the beach. Press generate.
The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-OK because we can go to the beach.
So that's okay. We can run it a few times, and each time you press generate, you'll get a slightly different outcome because it's based on the AI and it's not always the same. But we can also include some pauses. So the AI robots are coming, ... Jump down a few lines, but it's all going to be A-OK, full stop, because we can go to the beach, ! Let's try that out.
The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-OK because we can go to the beach.
There we go. That's good enough for us. We can press download, and it downloads the audio file to our computer. We're now going to hop over to a piece of software from d-id.com, DID, that can create animated avatars from a photo or a stylized but quite realistic cartoon character just by providing a piece of audio or a script, and it will create its own voiceover. But the voiceovers aren't as good as those from 11 Labs. So I'll quickly show you how we do that. Log in, press generate video, and this is where you can add your script, upload a voiceover, and also choose your presenter. We're going to add a new image for our presenter, so press plus, upload our image with the close-up of our character, press enter, give it a second to think about it, and identify the character in the scene. And then we're going to press upload your own voice.
The AI robots are coming.
And just press generate video. And there we go, just a few seconds later it's created the video. Let's quickly press play to preview.
The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-OK because we can go to the beach.
Very happy with that. So we're going to press download, save it to the computer. Now we're going to use another amazing AI tool from Runway ML, which allows you to create all sorts of AI-generated video content using text prompts, or you can use video sources and image references to create unique videos. And it's actually a really cool tool, which we'll deal with in a separate tutorial. But what we want it for is to actually do some simple background removal. So we're going to log in, go to Assets, upload our...
The AI robots are coming.
Our talking character from DID. And then we're going to press Edit Videos. We're going to choose Remove Background. Then from our assets up here, we're going to grab our character, and we're just going to click once, possibly twice. Done pretty well, but it has added some of these materials. So up here in the right, we can choose Exclude, and we just add a little dot over here, add a few more of these red dots, and there we go. It's removed those, and then press Done Masking, and then press Export. 720p is fine for us. MP4, press Export Video. And then that will save out to your assets. So pick up the 3 bars in the top left, press Home, go to Assets, and you can see the video being exported here. Then we can click on the video.
The AI robots are coming.
Download to save it to the computer. Okay, as a quick recap on what we've created so far, we have our full scene created using MidJourney with the character removed using Photoshop. We have our depth pass also created using that same image run through Midas on Hugging Face. and we have our animated character brought to life using DID with a voiceover made using 11 labs and the background removed using Runway ML. And now we get to do the fun bit and hop into Adobe After Effects, bring those different assets together and bring it to life through some more traditional digital animation techniques. Grab our 3 files, the depth pass, the background and our character with the background removed. Create a brand new composition. Let's do 1920 by 1080 and we can do a frame rate of 24 frames per second. And we're going to grab those 3 assets, bring them down to here, scale them up until our background fits nicely within the scene. So we have our background, our depth pass, and our character. We can ignore the character for now. So the depth pass, we can bring that to life by right-clicking Effects, choosing Distort and Displacement Map, choosing our depth pass, and then changing the displacement to use the luminance channel for both the X and the Y. So that's 0. And then if you up these values, you can see there's a cool 3D effect. If you push too far, it does start to break the image, but you can see how it does create this cool 3D effect for what is essentially a 2D image, which is pretty cool. And then we can grab our character, bring him up, and then choose keying, key light, screen color, and pick the green color. And then if we hop back in here, and actually if we import the wide view with the character still included as a reference, match the scale of the other ones, so 132. And then reduce the opacity, scale him down to match what we had in the original. And using the mask tool, just draw a mask at the bottom, double tap M and press invert to invert the mask. Add a little feather of 2 pixels. Scale him just a tiny bit more. Our composition length to 5 seconds 04, just so we know what we're dealing with. And we've got our cool background distortion using the displacement map. We're going to hide our character for now because we're not actually interested in him. And we're going to pre-comp all of this and call it background scene. And then we're going to create a new camera. Let's stick with a 1-node camera. Open up the transform properties and we have position. And then we're going to open up our pre-comp. So we've got both compositions here and we're going to grab our background and move it so we've got our background composition and our master comp here with the camera. We're going to link the displacement map values to our camera. So we drop this down, go down to displacement map, horizontal and our vertical. So we click our maximum horizontal displacement, use the pick whip and select the X value on the position of the camera. You drop down here, you can see the expression and we're actually going to, we want it to stay at 0. So we're going to link it to the camera, but then we're going to type on the expression here at the end, just put -960, which is the current value of the camera. And then we're going to do the same for the vertical. We're going to pick whip, choose the Y value position from the camera, roll down to see the expression, and then put -540. Then close this background scene for now. In our composition view window, we can press C to cycle through the camera controls. We want this one with the panning tool. And we can pan left and right using the camera to affect the displacement map in the pre-comp to give us that cool 3D control. Next, we can do some things to improve the scene even further. So if we set some keyframes for the position of the camera, double click on the camera and change it to a 2-node camera, which will give you your point of interest, as you can see in the top view here. And then with the point of interest set up and pushed really far away, you can then set keyframes as you pan or rotate around the scene. We can also remove that white edge to the scene by jumping into the pre-comp, clicking our background, and then ticking wrap pixels around on the displacement map effect. Another thing you can do is turn all these layers inside the pre-comp to 3D. Whilst you're here, you can copy the character, jump back into the main composition, and on that background scene, tick the constantly rasterize button. And now when you rotate around the scene, you get a nice 3D effect, but you can also zoom in with the camera and still have that 3D effect even when zoomed in. Now we're going to paste in our 3D character from the pre-comp that we copied earlier. And as we pan across our scene using our keyframes, you'll see that they're in the scene and they are moving with the camera, because they're already a 3D layer, but they're not in the right depth position for our scene. If you're very lucky, depending on your MidJourney artwork and the character position and your depth pass, they might just be in the right position already, but it's unlikely. And so ideally we'd just grab hold of the Z direction and push them back in position. But it won't work because technically they're on the same plane as our background image, and our background image is just a flat image. It's only that 3D effect we've got going on in the pre-comp that makes it seem 3D. So the way around this is to create a new adjustment layer, make that 3D, and position it between the background and the character. And that breaks the hierarchy of the 3D in the scene, which is sometimes quite annoying, but in this instance it's quite handy. So we can push our character back to where we think they should be and position them by eye. And there we go, we've added our character into our scene. So now when we pan the camera and move around, they're nicely situated exactly where we want them. And it was at that annoying point that my computer decided to freeze up as the hard drive was nearly full, and it turns out that my cloud storage wasn't syncing. So I've had to jump through and redo all the steps to get to this point, all exactly the same, bar the background is now slightly different from when I did the character removal in Photoshop. And I've also been through and set some nice camera moves, just panning left to right, and there's jumps to a close-up, jumps back to a wide. Now we could stop there and the video would look pretty good, but I want to make it a little bit fancier. So first of all, I want to fix, there's some blue spill in the hair from when we did the background removal using Runway, which you can see up here isn't looking too hot. So I'm going to duplicate our character layer, draw another mask, get rid of the lower mask on that one, and we're going to use our key light and we're going to duplicate it and grab some of this blue that's in there. And then we can unsolo that character, copy that mask onto the one beneath, and set that to a subtract. And then I don't know if you can see this on YouTube, but there's a very small line there. So on that mask we just duplicated, we can just reduce the expansion down to 5 pixels, and that's got rid of that line. And there we go, the hair's a lot better, not perfect. We could spend more time refining the mask or picking some other colours from there, but it's certainly better. Now to make the environment feel a bit more rich and alive, we're going to be adding some lens flares and some dust just floating around in the scene. The dust is nice and easy. I've just grabbed a stock clip of dust particles from Envato Elements, and they're just floating around. They're moving slightly quickly, so I'm just going to crudely slow it down using time stretch, set it to 200, and then change the blending mode to screen. We've now got dust floating around in our scene, and when we cut to the close-up camera, I have separated the layer up there and made it slightly larger so the particles are in a different position. We can also make those layers 3D and position them so as the camera's moving, the particles are moving in 3D space as well. Now to add some 3D lens flares to the scene, we're going to use Optical Flares from Video Copilot, which is a paid plugin. Now to do this, we're going to duplicate our background scene, drop that down here, call it Light Sample, jump into here, pre-comp the background layer and call this Lighting Dots. And that won't affect our original background pre-comp. But yes, we have this layer called Lighting Dots. We're going to jump into here, right-click and turn that into a guide layer, so it's not actually going to be seen in the final thing. We're then going to use the shape layer to create some tiny circles, which will be markers for where we'd like our lights and lens flares to appear in the scene. Another one, I've just duplicated that, put another one on the side of the earth or the window in the background. Another one over on this orange stick thing here. I'm actually going to change the color for that one to orange. And maybe the one by the earth, we'll make that slightly blue. Okay, so we'll just hide that for now. I don't know if you can see these on YouTube, but we've got these tiny dots, and you can play around with the scale to create bigger lens flares as well as the intensity of the opacity. So let's jump all the way back to our main composition. We're going to create a new layer, be a solid or an adjustment layer, call it lens flare, and then go to effects. And then we're going to right click, choose Video Copilot, Optical Flares, and we're going to change the source type to luminance, source layer to light sample. And we can see we have optical flares there already. We can play around with the brightness, scale. We can set the center position for where the optical flares are pointing. We can then go down to render mode and choose on transparent. And now when we spin through the scene, making sure that constantly rasterize is turned on for the light sample layer. As we pan through, the optical flares track with the scene, and including when we jump to the close-up. You can then play around with things like flicker to have some movement to the lighting, play around with the settings in optical flares, as well as the size and opacity of your shape layers for the lighting dots. There we go, that's all looking quite cool. Just going to add a black solid with a rounded rectangle tool mask, double tap M, invert the mask, and add a simple black vignette to the side of the scene. Plus we can add an adjustment layer, choose color correction, right click and choose the effect color correction, Lumetri color, which is the same coloring system built into Adobe Premiere. If you drop down basic correction, you can adjust exposure, contrast, and things like that. Also, if you open up creative, you can go through different looks and adjust the intensity of these, which can quickly allow you to try out different things and see how they impact your image. Now you could evolve this project even further and spend more and more time. You could add some subtle shoulder movement and head tilting to the character by using the puppet tool built into Adobe After Effects. You could play around with the depth map by applying a brightness and contrast to that layer so you can shift the depth. You could run some camera tracking on the scene directly in After Effects, which would allow you to then place things in the 3D environment or drop lights in and link lens flares to actual physical lights, as well as place 3D motion graphics into the environment with ease. I've opened up the voiceover audio in Adobe Audition just to do a quick pitch shift so that it's slightly higher and suits our character and this work better. So we select all the audio, press effects, time and pitch, pitch shifter, and then we can adjust our semitones.
But it's all going to be A-okay, because we can go to the beach. The AI robots are coming. But it's all going to be...
There we go, I think that's much better. Now I've dropped that pitch shifted voiceover track to the bottom of our composition and muted all the other channels. So that's everything I'm going to cover in this tutorial, and I'm going to render the scene out so you can watch it in all its glory.
The AI robots are coming, but it's all going to be A-okay, because we can go to the beach.
And that's a wrap. Hopefully this tutorial has been helpful and maybe introduced some new AI tools or shown some professional motion graphic animation techniques using Adobe After Effects, all to help bring a static AI-generated character and scene to life. If this is the sort of thing you're interested in, please press subscribe as we'll continue to develop this workflow, try out tools like Wonder Studio and other AI animation tools, and we'll be sharing what we discover on our new YouTube channel. Also, if you are an active AI animator or creative using these different tools in your production and you're producing high quality work, please head over to aianimation.com. It's our new site, looking to showcase creatives, give them a platform to show off their latest work and detail the skills and the production styles they're producing, with a view to them finding clients, paid clients, networking, and everything like that. All right, that's it. Thanks very much. Have an awesome day. Cheers.